The year was 1931. Jocelyn Levi was born in Pennsylvania to Malcolm and Jocelyn Bronson Levi.
Her father, his family business was the silk business, and he sold his share of the company right before the Depression. And he wanted to be a rancher. So he put the family in a car and they drove west.
The family ended up in San Antonio after someone suggested to her father that he meet Dan Oppenheimer, a banker.
He helped them find the first ranch that my grandfather bought, which is out the old Blanco Road. That's where my mother grew up. It's now called Timberwood Park.
It was a ranch life for Joci. She loved the animals that populated the countryside. She came into San Antonio for school, a long ride in on dusty Blanco Road.
Her father would put her in the back of the pickup truck every day and drive her to St. Mary's Hall down where the academy is now on French Street.
It wasn't too many years later when Joci would meet the man she would be married to for 70 years, Joe R. Straus Jr. Their parents were friends.
So both families were ranching families. My mom's family was on Blanco, and his family was on Fredericksburg Road, where the USAA is now. So they knew each other because of the cattle business.
In her teens, they began dating.
He took her to a drive-in movie with his friends. I think he was 16, and he put her in the back, in the trunk with beer, and he didn't want to pay for her. He hit her in the back, and she opened the beer bottles and handed them up to the boys. That was their first date.
Married to Joe in 1952, the couple had 3 children, Lyn, Susan, and Joe Richard. Joci became involved in the community as she raised her family.
She had an office in our house. She didn't work ever for pay. She learned about all the different organizations, nonprofits in the city, and she got interested in doing volunteer work.
Politics was one of her interests.
She was very interested in making the state a 2-party state. George H.W. Bush was really the first, when he ran for Congress, was her first big volunteer political job. And then John Tower. So she worked for both of them.
Known well in political circles as an organizer and fundraiser, in 1988, Mayor Henry Cisneros and developer Tom Wright reached out to her to raise funds to restore the city's historic Majestic Theater.
They took her down there and showed her the place, and she said, "Of course we have to do this. We have to do it for the city." And my brother tells a funny story. Whenever businessmen would see her coming, they would run the other way because she was a major pickpocket, she called herself. She would organize lunches and dinners on stage before it was restored and invite people down to have lunch and see the place and talk about what's going to happen.
Through her new arts foundation, Las Casas, the money was raised and the Majestic was restored to its former glory. The foundation did the same for the Empire Theatre, restored in 1998. Joci Straus volunteered and raised money for many organizations, including the Women's Leadership Council, which later became Women United.
She was on the board of the United Way, and she felt like everybody goes and asks businesses and men for money. But she thought women could also step up. So she started the Women United. They have a luncheon every year called The Power of the Purse. So women donate purses for a silent auction. But the power of the purse means that women have funds and they can donate as well.
Hers was a lifetime of community stewardship and fundraising. Joci Straus passed away in 2022, but today her Las Casas Foundation, now the Majestic Empire Foundation, continues to support the arts with its annual Performing Arts Scholarship Program featuring young talent from all over South Texas.
You know, I think she just was so outgoing, and she believed in everything she was asking money for. She never did anything unless she really believed in it, and she expressed that belief so strongly that I think that made a difference.